Hi guys, in this video we're going to be taking a look at the Fanatec Podium Hub. This little hub is used in the Podium R300 bundle and also the Podium Porsche Endurance bundle. So with that said, let's have a look at the features this device offers. So what exactly is this hub? This hub is your connection between your rim and your quick release mechanism to your wheelbase. If you want, it also allows connectivity to button clusters, 2 button clusters from the Club Support button cluster packs, wheel plates like the Fanatec Endurance module via the USB connection on board, the Podium Advanced paddle module. It has some hard anchor points and plugs to allow you to connect those. But what it doesn't do is give you a direct connection to a funky switch, at least outside of connecting it to a wheel plate. So it's touted as Fanatec's solution for connecting both its own rims and third-party rims, as well as full third-party USB wheels. So the iRacing and Cube Control devices of the world. So we know what it's for and we know what it does. Let's have a look at how assembly goes when we are connecting it to the R300 rim. If you recently saw my video on the R300 reviewing it, you might want to skip this section because essentially it's the same material. We start off with the Podium Hub, remove the protective collar, line up the quick release, solder it on, it will only go one way. Slightly different sizes one to the other. Get the screws and then use a washer and a screw and tighten this puppy down. I tend to just take the opposite corners and try and work my way around and then tighten it up. It's a little tricky to tighten up with the quick release in place. I found if you remove the little plastic screw that's in there, it gives you a little bit more freedom. Once that's done, we move on to the Podium paddle module. We first have to assemble the plates, and because we're using the R300, we want to use the bigger carbon plates for the Podium paddle module. We have a smaller inner and a larger outer paddle. So with that all assembled, we take off the front plate of the Podium Hub to expose the lovely PCB and the headers for the buttons and the paddles, as you can see them here. We screw the correct sides in. Always have to be aware of the wheel position when you're screwing this on. Doesn't take too long to do. There's 2 screws. Actually, the harder job is later on. We have to try and thread these cables into the plastic front. But for now, we can just screw it together and plug the ends in. You might notice that I currently have the plus plate on the left. I'm thinking I'll probably swap those around, so I'm shifting up with my right hand. As I've got to take the whole thing apart again for the replacement paddle module, I didn't bother changing it for this video. The button clusters, right now all we do is plug them into the button headers, and we can't do any more until we've got the rim for those, but we need to first put the plastic plate back on, which is why we plug them in now. So we've got to do some cable threading. There are holes in the sides of the plastic plate to allow you to thread the cables through. It's just a case of trying to make sure these cables are nice and tidy. It is a fiddly job, unfortunately, because there's quite a lot of cable length to try and hide away in here. I used the Allen key here to just try and push the cables out of the way. You really don't want to be screwing down on top of those cables. You'll end up damaging them. These are self-tapping screws, so if you do get it caught, it's likely to damage it. Then we get the rim using a washer at the back. We screw on at least 2 screws to hold the rim in place. I did top and bottom. What this allows you to do then is to place in the button modules. You line them up where you want them. Don't worry about the cables just yet. Thread in the screw. Tighten it up a little. Not too tight because you've got to get other things in. Once you've got both of those in, got to get the washers behind and do the last couple of screws. This is a little fiddly, but it's not too bad actually. You can use a screwdriver to just push in the washer, and then you're done. Tighten it up. Make sure you adjust the button modules to where you want them, and then tighten these brass screws up, or the wheel plate screws up as much as you can. You don't really want these button modules moving around afterwards. That's it. You have the Podium R300 bundle ready to drive with. The longer length of the shaft of the Podium Hub does present a little bit more flex. You've got a bit more leverage on your quick release and the shaft of your wheelbase, and that might be a problem for some. I didn't notice it massively, but it is caught on camera occasionally. When you've got all of the Fanatec devices connected to the Podium Hub, you can see them on the driver display. I don't have the endurance module, so I can't show you that, but you can see here the button clusters and the advanced paddle module showing up and responding to input. Overall, it does a good job, at least with the R300 rim. Is the Podium Hub good value for money? That's a tough question. It does a lot of things. I mean, it's got the hard connection points for your advanced paddle module. You've got plugs for the Club Sport button clusters. You can add the endurance module. But good value for money? Maybe, maybe not. I think it would have been nice to see a version of this maybe without the USB connector, which can only be used for Fanatec devices anyway, so you can't go and plug your USB wheel into this USB port hoping to get connectivity without having to run a cable to your machine. Not everyone is going to be looking at having shifters attached to their wheel, so the advanced paddle module hard points and plugs might be a little bit wasted. I can't imagine you'd save a lot of money by not having that on the Podium Hub, but maybe you don't necessarily need it. If you are just going to be buying a rim, is there any advantage to the Podium Hub solution, say with the R300, as opposed to the Club Sport? The Club Sport solution has more buttons, but it doesn't have the advanced paddle module. It just has magnetic shifters. So it's going to be dependent on what you're looking for from your rim. As an individual device, the Club Sport Hub is more expensive than the Podium Hub, but you have to also remember this comes with an array of buttons, a display, and magnetic shifters, whereas the Podium Hub only is the hub, where you have to purchase those other things separately. Then there's the elephant in the room, which is that you can't connect a funky switch to the Podium Hub through any official way other than buying the endurance module, which I think is a glaring oversight personally, that you've got these funky switches available on the other hubs, but you don't offer them as a solution for the Podium Hub. which is supposed to be your premium product. So whilst the Podium Hub is a good device, it's hard to recommend it over the other Fanatec hubs available. And then if we're just talking about it connecting USB wheels, we've got third-party solutions like the SRM Fanatec wheel emulator, which is decidedly cheaper than the Podium Hub and still offers pretty much the same connectivity. So the only selling points that I can see, and maybe the only way I can recommend the Podium Hub, is if you need to have a dual hand clutch available to you, in which case this is possibly your best option in the Fanatec ecosphere right now. It's not that it's not a good device, it's just I feel there are others that are of better value available to you. Now, if the USB port was generally available for any connectivity, I feel that that would add a little bit of added value that could possibly just nudge the Podium Hub into being recommended in more cases. But right now, in most cases, I couldn't recommend this. If you liked this video, please remember to give it the thumbs up. If you have some other opinions when it comes to the Fanatec Podium Hub, I would love to hear them. If you've got some other use cases that you think would make this a recommended device, by all means, please let me know. Always interested in other views. If you're interested in possibly buying merch like this with Karting Cthulhu, please let me know, because I'd like to be able to offer these to you guys. Remember to subscribe to the channel and stay safe. Until next time, guys, bye-bye for now.